Feeling tired all the time? Struggling to concentrate? Or maybe you've been getting strange tingling sensations in your hands and feet? These might not just be random symptoms, they could be your body screaming for help. As the sun began to spill golden light across the kitchen table, Sarah sat with her steaming cup of coffee, staring blankly at the crossword puzzle that lay before her. She had always enjoyed these puzzles, a daily ritual that sparked her mind and filled her with a sense of accomplishment. But lately, the words seemed to swim before her eyes, and the thrill of completing the puzzle had been replaced by a nagging sense of confusion. It wasn't just the crossword. It was a general fog that had settled over her life, dulling her once vibrant enthusiasm. Little did she know, this fog was merely one of the many warning signs that her body was trying to communicate with her, a signal that something was amiss beneath the surface. Vitamin B12, a crucial nutrient that plays a pivotal role in maintaining the health of our nervous system, producing DNA, and forming red blood cells, was in short supply. Sarah had always prided herself on her healthy diet, filled with colorful fruits, leafy greens, and whole grains. Yet, as she sipped her coffee, a thought flickered across her mind. She hadn't eaten much meat or dairy lately. The realization was unsettling. She remembered reading somewhere that vitamin B12 is predominantly found in animal products, and she had recently adopted a more plant-based diet, motivated by a desire to eat healthier and more sustainably. But now, the signs were becoming impossible to ignore. The first indication had been the fatigue. It crept in slowly, like a thief in the night, stealing away her energy until even the simplest tasks felt monumental. Sarah had attributed her tiredness to the demands of her job and the stress of daily life. Long hours at work, coupled with a busy social calendar, left little room for rest. But this fatigue was different. It was an all-encompassing weariness that no amount of coffee could shake off. She would find herself yawning in meetings, struggling to keep her eyes open, and by the time evening rolled around, she could hardly muster the energy to engage with her friends. Then there were the tingling sensations that began to dance along her fingertips and toes. At first, she brushed it off as a sign of anxiety, or perhaps just a consequence of sitting too long at her desk. But as the weeks passed, the tingling morphed into a more unsettling numbness. It was as if her body was trying to communicate something vital, a whisper of warning that she could no longer ignore. She recalled her grandmother's stories about the importance of vitamins and minerals, how they were the building blocks of life, and she couldn't help but wonder if she was neglecting something fundamental. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah noticed changes in her mood too. The vibrant laughter that used to bubble up so easily felt stifled, replaced by a sense of melancholy that hung over her like a dark cloud. She found herself snapping at friends over trivial matters, her patience thinning like a threadbare fabric. The once joyous anticipation of weekend plans was now overshadowed by a sense of dread and isolation. It was as if she was watching her life unfold through a foggy window, unable to fully engage with the world around her. Then came the memory lapses, the little things at first, misplacing her keys, forgetting names, struggling to recall the details of a conversation she had just had. She brushed it off as a sign of aging or stress, but deep down, she felt a gnawing fear that perhaps something more serious was at play. The brain fog settled in like a heavy blanket, obscuring her thoughts and making it difficult to focus. She would sit down to work on a project, her mind racing with ideas, only to find herself staring blankly at the screen, unable to articulate her thoughts. It was frustrating, disheartening, and frightening all at once. One evening, after a particularly overwhelming day, Sarah decided to do some research. She sat on her couch, laptop perched on her knees, and began typing vitamin B12 deficiency symptoms into the search bar. As she read through the list, her heart raced. Fatigue, numbness, mood changes, memory issues. Each symptom resonated with her own experiences. It was as if the words were shining a spotlight on her life, illuminating the shadows that had been lurking for far too long. She felt a mix of relief and dread. Relief that she might finally have an answer, but dread at the thought of what it might mean for her health. Determined to take action, Sarah made an appointment with her doctor the very next day. As she sat in the waiting room, her heart raced with a blend of anxiety and hope. She wanted answers, but she was also terrified of what those answers might be. When the doctor finally called her in, Sarah poured out her concerns, detailing her symptoms and the recent changes in her diet. The doctor listened intently, nodding in understanding as she recounted her experiences. After a thorough examination and some blood tests, the doctor confirmed what Sarah had feared. She was indeed low on vitamin B12. The doctor explained that this vitamin is essential for several bodily functions, including the production of red blood cells and the maintenance of the nervous system. A deficiency could lead to serious health issues, including anemia, nerve damage, and cognitive impairments. Sarah felt a wave of emotions wash over her, relief that she finally had an explanation, but also a sense of urgency to rectify the situation. The doctor outlined a plan to boost her vitamin B12 levels. They discussed dietary changes, emphasizing the importance of incorporating more animal products like fish, poultry, eggs, and dairy into her meals. For someone who had enjoyed a mostly plant-based diet, this felt daunting. However, the doctor also mentioned that B12 supplements could be an effective alternative, especially for those who might struggle to get enough from food alone. Sarah left the office with a prescription for B12 supplements and a renewed sense of purpose. Over the next few weeks, Sarah began to implement the changes recommended by her doctor. She made a conscious effort to add more variety to her meals, experimenting with new recipes that included fish and eggs. She was surprised to discover how much she enjoyed these foods, and the act of cooking became a joyful exploration rather than a chore. With each meal, she felt a sense of empowerment, reclaiming her health one bite at a time. As she continued to take her supplements and adjust her diet, Sarah began to notice subtle changes. The fatigue that had weighed her down started to lift, replaced by a gentle surge of energy that felt both invigorating and familiar. The fog that had clouded her mind began to dissipate, revealing a clearer path forward. She found herself engaging in conversations with her friends again, her laughter returning like a long-lost friend. The tingling sensations in her extremities began to fade, and with them, the anxiety that had accompanied them. It was as if she had been given a second chance. With every passing day, Sarah felt more like herself, rediscovering the joy in the little things that had once brought her so much happiness. She embraced her newfound energy by taking long walks in the park, reconnecting with nature, and allowing herself to savor the beauty of each moment. One particularly sunny afternoon, while sitting on a park bench with a book in hand, she reflected on her journey. The experience had taught her not only about the importance of vitamin B12, but also about the significance of listening to her body. It was a reminder that our bodies often send us signals when something isn't right, and it's crucial to pay attention to those signs. Sarah realized that her journey was not just about rectifying a deficiency, it was about embracing a holistic approach to health. She began to incorporate mindfulness practices into her routine, taking time each day to meditate and reflect on her well-being. She learned to appreciate the balance of nutrients in her diet and the importance of variety, recognizing that health is not just a destination but a continuous journey. As the months rolled by, Sarah became an advocate for health and wellness among her friends and family. She shared her story, encouraging others to pay attention to the warning signs their bodies might be sending. She organized health workshops, inviting nutritionists to speak about the importance of vitamins and minerals, and she became passionate about raising awareness around the significance of vitamin B12, especially for those following plant-based diets. In the end, Sarah's experience with the vitamin B12 deficiency came a catalyst for change, not only in her own life, but also in those around her. She learned that health is a delicate balance, a tapestry woven from the threads of nutrition, mindfulness, and self-care. As she continued her journey, she knew that she would always be attuned to her body's whispers, ready to listen and respond with the care it deserved. Thanks for watching the video. If you find it interesting and meaningful, please give us a like to motivate us, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other exciting videos. Goodbye, and see you next time.